Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Um, it's season 3, episode 1 of Crunching Your Growth, and we are bringing on entrepreneurs every week to talk about growing and scaling businesses. And tonight, although we are having some technical difficulties, our guest tonight um, is Richard Blank. He's the CEO of Costa Rica's Call Center. He's got a tremendous background in call centers. And in case any of you don't know what call centers are, what functions they perform, or any of that, we'll get into that with Richard tonight. He's having a little bit of difficulty getting his camera to work. Not sure what, I'm not sure what the issue is with that. But these things happen every once in a while. So in the meantime, we'll just sort of go through it. I mean, Richard is he's been doing call centers for many, many years, I guess for well over 25 years, if not more. He's an expert, and I'm called upon for advice, called upon for training, and he's built his own sort of call center empire down in Costa Rica, and he works with some huge companies all around the world. So he's really got a great understanding, and then he's a motivational speaker, which when you think about it is sort of important in that world. I don't know how many of you guys or viewers are familiar with call centers or how they work or any of that, but you have to get the staff pumped up, right? They're going to be making phone calls all day. You've got to get them to want to do it, and get them to understand it and do what they're doing. So let's see if he's not there. He's not there yet. I mean, he's on there, but he's not. For some reason, his camera's not working yet. Richard, are you there?
I am here. Unfortunately, you just can't see me in my 3-piece suit, Phil. I apologize.
What's going on with the camera?
I got my IT guy here. I might have to fire him by the end of today. I don't know what's happening with the camera, but
well, hopefully they'll be back. But let me just talk a little bit in the meantime about some things. Hopefully, his IT guy is going to get him sorted out. But one of the things that is useful for call centers is when you're growing a business, especially if you're in the services business or a SaaS business, the growth, your outreach has to be multiple. You have to have multiple pieces, right? We all try email these days, but I'm sure just like you, I get hundreds of emails every morning. And so it's very difficult sometimes to even know who's legitimate, who's not legitimate. And so call centers can play a role in helping you scale, because if you've got a SaaS product or a B2B, sometimes it's easier to get people on the phone. And what you're really trying to do is get those people on the phone, because it's better and easier to close a deal when you can actually talk to somebody about your business. I find, because we do outreach for our business. You can imagine we outreach to potential clients all around the country, all around the world, looking for ways to grow our business and expand our business. And we've also done it for SaaS businesses, and we've used call centers out of different places to do it. Obviously, there's scripts. Obviously, there's training. There's Richard. Hey, got it fixed.
right, finally. Someone's definitely not getting fired tonight, Phil, but I love how you handled the first couple minutes before I jumped on. Thank you, my brother.
It happens, man. It happens, happens all the time. We always have technical difficulties. So thanks for being here.
Microsoft Teams, that's always been my Achilles heel.
Oh yeah, Microsoft Teams I'm sure there was a conflict with the camera. We've seen that, especially in Google. But anyway, I did the intro as best I could about you and your background, and about call centers in general and how they can help you scale for different types of businesses. So, but again, you're better off talking about your story. So why don't you take us back, give us a little bit of background in who you are, and how you got to where you are and what you do.
Phil, first, I can't thank you enough for having me as a guest on your podcast. I love your work. You're a great guy, and I'm just so happy to be here. Oh, man, I am a long shot from Northeast Philadelphia. I actually hit it. I
Oh yeah.
decided not to follow in family's footsteps in law and finance and real estate. And I was a Spanish major at Arizona. I didn't go Ivy League. And then when I was 27 years old in August of 2000, I had a 1 in a million opportunity to move to Costa Rica and work at my friend's call center. And so kind of learned the business from the inside out. And 17 years ago, I threw my hat in the ring, decided to start my own business. And here we are today. So it's one of those things where it was a hero's journey. I actually have a good story to tell my friends back home.
That's great. Yeah, call centers are so, I think, misunderstood in a lot of cases, from businesses on how to use them to grow, I think is probably what, certainly we all know call centers for customer service. We all know call centers for, order taking and things like that. But I think as part of outbound reach or outbound, when you're trying to grow your business, you have a SaaS business or whether you have a service business, using call centers as part of your outbound marketing is I think one of the foundations.
I definitely believe it's a means to an end. You could ask somebody today how many texts they get, how many emails they get, how many calls you actually get.
Right.
These are soft skills, Phil, that could be used off the phone when you're building relationships, saving a marriage, and having a good Thanksgiving dinner. But I tell you what, Hollywood projects telemarketers in a certain light. These are artists of speech. They use that tongue for bad. And also, if you want to start quoting Blake from Glengarry about coffees for closers, I mean, that doesn't motivate anybody. I look at it like this. If you have good rhetoric, if you do some due diligence, if you respect the gatekeeper and give a positive escalation before you get transferred, there's no reason why you can't buy at least 30 seconds to 2 minutes of time and build a very nice pipeline. And so it's the old school way. People want that sort of country time lemonade conversation. They just don't want to be carpet bombed with text emails and things that are so informal. And I'll tell you what, I'll let AI gather and bring me to the 10-yard line, but Phil, you and I are going to put that ball in the end zone together. That human empathetic element should never be eliminated when it comes to relationship building.
It's funny you should say that, because obviously, as I own an agency, and as we do outbound to build, to get new clients. And you're 100% right. Email. I was saying that on the intro before, when you were working out your technical difficulties. I was saying that.
That's right.
Today I get so many emails, and it's hard to really distinguish what's good and what's not. Texts, I can't stand. I feel like it's an invasion. And I think between all the scams that are out there, I think SMS marketing is sort of dead or close to it. It's on life support. There's no question about it. But I found last year I actually brought somebody on to do some outbound for us, because the people we had we didn't have enough time. We were growing, and they were using a combination of email and making phone calls. And we increased our meeting rate by tenfold, because people, now you could get on the call and you could explain, they were explaining what we do, what services we have, and what the offer was. And therefore they were more apt to get on a call with us. And I think it built a little bit more trust. I don't have anything, quantifiable to say about that, but all I can say is I think it built a little bit more trust, because we did close at a higher rate than we ever did before.
That's fantastic, especially if you're using a predictive dialer. So now you're simultaneously dialing and having full talk times and contact ratios. I think it's incredible. I'm very proud of you for doing it. I'm sure the individual, it's not for the faint of heart. They got to build up to it. But sure, if you send an email prior and you do a follow-up phone call, or when you get somebody on the call, you're talking about trust, of course. Well, why don't we custom make it for you? Why don't we readjust tones, test waters, see where the boundaries are, target dates. You know, if you meet a couple people in the office, you throw their names in the email and compliments. And so, yes, these are the sort of things that you get in live theater, or when you see a painting, or when you have a face-to-face conversation with somebody. It enhances the experience. The only thing is it takes time.
Yeah.
And so if you're willing to invest that time, then there's a very good chance with that foundation, you're going to have a longer term relationship. And so I'd rather put my chips onto those bets.
Yeah, I think I do think obviously we've used call centers for all kinds of things, for customer service, like I said, customer service, order taking in e-commerce and things like that. But it was the first time we really used for outbound, and I found it was much more much more beneficial than just the traditional way, because something changed in 2020. Something changed with doing. We used to have a great outbound pipeline, and something changed in 2020. Emails just aren't working anymore. And so we have to do other things. And what I found is that more direct, face-to-face, pick up the phone, call somebody. Even if I do it, call somebody and get on the phone with them, I can close a deal much, much better. But what I think the big question for me was, what inspired you to do that? Like, you talk about your background and you say, in Northeast Pennsylvania, and you came from a family of, doing real estate, and how did you wind up in call centers?
There's no blueprint for it. And if I told my parents I wanted to do that, they think I'm crazy. And as I say, most people hate telemarketers. And so
yeah.
Why would you want to be that individual?
Yeah.
But I tell you what, and I'm going to date myself, but I think you're going to enjoy it. Do you remember the show The A-Team back in the day?
Yeah.
I always liked the face man. I thought Templeton Peck was cool. I enjoyed Pierce Brosnan as Remington Steele. And so when I was in college and I had certain influences, I felt that when someone was glib and clever and had structured arguments, that kind of got you a little bit further than grabbing someone and throwing them through a window.
Yeah.
Charm goes a long way because it buys you 30 seconds. If you walk into a place, knows your please and thank yous, and observant on what's on the wall so you can anchor with people and find things in common, you buy time. And these telemarketing calls, you might catch them at the wrong time. But the most important thing is to snap them out of that trance, to not have that immediate "we're good, thanks," or "why are you calling," to actually make that sort of connection where you separate yourself from the rest. And so for me, I saw it as a game, because if I took it too serious, I'd burn out and I'd get angry and I'd be desperate. And here, come on, sign. Who wants to do things like that? A wise man once told me, Phil, that from an educated point of view, people make a decision. And so it's for me to give you the dessert tray and to sell each plate delicious, where I know you like at least one. And if you're in a good mood, order two. And so that's the player. You're so confident with what's behind you, you can stand in front of it, put your arms out and go, look at me. And so that's a more pure play, in my opinion. I think it's something that can give you that sort of consistency where you don't compromise ethics and you're proud of what you do.
Yeah. I saw in part of your background that you do a lot of motivational speaking, and I would think, and I don't know, I've never run a call center, and but I would think that plays a big role in keeping the team sort of motivated, because you're right. You said it before, somebody's making phone calls. They have to have thick skin, because there's a lot of, hangups, or, I don't want to talk to you kind of responses. So.
Well, that's part of the game. I mean, that's what you signed up for. But think of the soldier, and the best generals were the ones that were grunts at one time. And so, yeah, sure, I run a call center. I've been in this industry 24 years, but I can go on a phone call anytime in front of my crew and show them that I can wax on and wax off and bite the apple when juggling. And so I've earned the respect of my people. And since English is my first language, I'm able to enrich their skills by giving them choice vocabulary, certain grammar structure. So it's not just a job. I believe that they're getting something in addition to it, besides playing pinball with them, having a gamification culture, and really working with them on composure and business letters and email and voicemail templates. So it's not just an email blast. You could be doing 100 beautiful voicemails a day that are custom made, you'll get 20% back. You'll get their attention. And so I want them to still preserve the art of speech. And anyone that does dedicated practice above and beyond learns second languages and excels in their careers. And so if somebody is watching a movie, reading a book, or learning 15 new vocabulary words that day, like they'll say, what does bewildered mean? I go, look it up. And then, they start asking me pretty cool words. And so I say, give it to me in a sentence. And I'll also make them more strategic. They'll never say help. They'll use words like assist, guide, and lend a hand. Not excuse me, Phil. For my clarification, Phil, is it ABC or 1, 2, 3? I'll teach them to fall on swords and use military alphabet. Things like that, just fun skills. So they prolong conversations. The metrics get better. As you say, talk time increases. You're building the pipeline. And really, the people, it's a breath of fresh air. Because when you're just going through checklists and carpet bombing and just reading scripts, come on, man, you got to at least try. I don't like things like that. They're not even swinging for the fences. And so at least let them have their vigor. And if they have romantic deaths on the phone, make it a good one. Or at least you did a company name spike, you complimented 5 people, and you tried your best. I mean, that's where you can jump clouds. You ask how someone can make 300 calls a day or walk 15 miles with a pack and fight in a war. But they got to have their rhythm. They got to have their zen. They got to have their mantra. And for me, I go old school chivalry. I give honor in it. I let them know this is a dying field and we're being replaced by computers. But there will always be that one individual, Phil, that will press 0 and want to speak with us. And so I say, try to preserve that still, because one day you will be that unique speaker that looks up and talks, compares to look down and text. And so I think there's a value to it. You're marketable. And if you're the only one in the crew that can speak for many, you're going to get promoted very fast. And so, as I say, these are young, delicate, early 20s kids. And so for me, I have the leverage of making you or breaking you. I'll never give you the walk of shame or make you cry, because this is a very, it's a social environment. These people are, it's not just typing in. I know accounting and other jobs are difficult, but man, when you're on the phone for 8 hours a day, nonstop, that's heavy. That's like triple work. And plus you're doing it, you're translating. So imagine that extra work that they're putting in their heads. And so just by extending a little bit of empathy, letting you pause between marches, giving you some water, a soldier might fight a little bit better for you. They understand that it's a forced march. It just shouldn't be a death march. And so in this industry, which does need results and people that have long-term plans, it's the kind of sergeant that runs the 5 miles with you and does the 100 push-ups with you. Because if I can do it, you should do it. And so I'll call you out on it. The balls and the strikes. I'll give you the guilt, the black and the white, especially if we're listening to your recordings and you missed the question on Phil, or Phil asked you a question and you didn't answer, or you didn't hear the dog in the background. So you're not even asking Phil about his dog. Stop pitching for a minute. Talk about dogs for a second. People love that. And so those are the things, my friend, that I look for. So when I get the fidelity or people coming back with me, they realize it's a real coach. I'm the real one. I might be the only one, but that's pretty much all I know.
Well, I can see just by listening to you that whole motivational piece, because now I'm saying, that was a great speech.
Thanks,
you did.
I live in Central America in tropical areas. I'm from Philly, where it used to be cold and there was slush and they wouldn't cancel school that day. So why do you think I'm smiling every day? This is like Gilligan's Island. It's the best.
Oh, you're down there full time?
I've been living here for 25 years and I married the girl of my dreams. As I say, I'm the long shot that it should have never happened, Phil. I couldn't believe it happened. I fell in love with a tropical, exotic girl. Built a company. I didn't think I'm on your podcast smiling and motivational speaking. I'm just in a good mood. So it could put me anywhere.
That's fantastic. That's just fantastic, man. I'm glad you're happy. It's a feat. Anybody who builds a business that has longevity and you've been doing it for what, 25 years, that you got to take your hat off, because any business, it's difficult to get up every day and stay motivated after a certain amount of time. And a lot of people, they check out, they sell out, they do whatever. But if you're still living the dream, more power to you.
Let's get realistic. Motivation comes and goes, whatever. I believe in structure and discipline, period. Especially the days you don't want to get up. And then also you're looking at the good times. You didn't see the tough times. And took one in the gut, almost lost my business twice.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID hurt. And then I lost my largest client in 2010. And so I tell you what, you judge a person's character during chaos, look at them during tough times, see how they handle themselves. And so what I wanted to do is I always wanted to look in my eyes. The moment you can't see yourself and you avert your eye contact with yourself, you got a problem. Make your bed in the morning, hit the gym, try to do things, even if you're not making money that day, but you have a setback, then get some first downs. You don't need touchdowns. Do self-respect things. And if that happens, then I believe it comes around, me today, you tomorrow. It's just, don't look back at yourself where you're crying in a corner and you're, a little embarrassed on what you said or the email you wrote, or the fact you didn't sleep on it and ponder it so you could readjust the following day. You kind of snapped. No impulse control, no maturity. And so the life's lessons are the most beautiful scars you could wear, because you have to earn them to grow. And so it goes both ways, my friend. It's the yin and the yang. It is the sour and the sweet.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you talk about the tough times, because that's really why I do this show, because I think that entrepreneurs or people that want to start businesses, and I don't care what kind of business you start, you're always going to have tough times. And it's the ones that get up and power through. And I can tell you from experience, I mean, I've done it too many times, and I've had that situation way too many times. And, if you give up and just walk away, I mean, it's easy to give up. It's very easy to give up and walk away, but it's difficult to get up and look at yourself when times are tough, when you do lose that big client, when COVID does take away 50% of your business, and in our case, it was 50% of our business, and you still want to, you still have to keep people employed, and you try and figure out a way. That's what, in my opinion, that's what makes an entrepreneur persevere. Is when
without getting too personal, Grandpa always told me, if you can't pay for it in cash, don't do it. I always had reserves, and I made sure that your salary, the benefits, and my taxes were paid before I got paid. I could go out and get that Porsche. Why? I want to make sure you get your salary.
Right.
And that's the responsible big boy thing. And so when I'm looking at panicking or tough times, it's not because of irresponsibility.
Right.
Okay. So I didn't play that game. But yeah, I mean, if there's a national disaster, right, a hurricane or volcano, or as you say, COVID, you know what I do? I do just like Anthony Quinn did in Zorba the Greek. I'll put my arms out and just start dancing on the beach while my ship sinks. What are you going to do? You might as well dance in the rain. Nice. That's just the way it is. And so, as I say, if you can embrace that sort of tough time, imagine what it's going to be like during the good times. And so that's why I don't have hair anymore. All those tough times.
Well, I'm losing mine, but I agree with you. I mean, we were lucky enough but we didn't take salary during COVID, because we kept everybody employed, and we were losing things left and right. Nobody knew, and it was total chaos. And you were trying to plan, but you couldn't plan because you didn't know what to plan on. So it was a bit rough, but we made it through, and we're better today. We did a couple of things, shifted, and got into some businesses we weren't in before, and so we worked it out. But I do like the Glengarry Glen Ross comparison that you did earlier, because I do watch that every once in a while. I think to me it's funny. It's not that I would want to be that type of person or boss, but I think it's funny. And I like the skit that Saturday Night Live did on that with the elves, which I thought was hysterical. So I love that, coffee is for closers, and that whole focus. But getting back to you and getting back to your business, what makes your call center different than others? What's your secret sauce, so to speak.
It's interesting you say that. I can match them with technology and salaries. I'm an avid collector of vintage pinball machines. My oldest is a 1970 Bally's Camelot. And so I will have this happy medium of a gamification culture. Why? Recess is the best class. You make friends there. Letting off steam, recharge batteries. It's one less cigarette and get off that freaking phone. And so I've seen that you retain people because they make friends there. Or I'll tell you what, you're not really supposed to touch your boss, but I'm there playing pinball in the morning. People come by, hit me on the shoulder and go, "What's up, Hefe? How you doing, buddy?" And so that's a great positive reinforcement for me that people are comfortable enough and see I'm cool enough. You know, it's like the nun or the priest that shoots basketball hoops with their client. That's extra cool, you know? And what makes me different? I'm accountable. I know that people say that in a cliche sort of way, but good, bad, or ugly, Phil, I'm going to give you a phone call, let you know what's happening and what the solution is. There's no surprises. Also, you have an expat living here for the past 25 years, bilingual, started this company from scratch, not from a parent contact or college connection. I started raw. I mean, this thing started from 1 seat, 1 week. I mean, I could have gotten on third base back home and given all the goodies and advantages. No, man, I wanted to shed some skin and do it on my own. And so a lot of people like that sort of grit, old school grit, where you're going to with your boots on and you can get past your parents' guilt and you can do certain things in life. You know, parents' guilt. Of course, there's Italian families, you know that. And so for me, what it is, I know my people's names. I walk the rows. Okay, I break bread with them. These are the things you expect. Yeah, but most people don't do it. And so how can I compete against Amazon? Well, I know everyone's name. I break bread with them. Soft skills training, walking the roads, wearing a suit in case their mother shows up, learning their language. What more can I do? I'd rather them choose me on merit than price. And yes, I mean, some people do leave and there are outside circumstances that I'm not aware of, but there are people that stay. And so I guess I do have the luxury of a track record in an exceptionally competitive industry. 150 doesn't sound like a lot to people, but I tell you what, 18 years ago, before I started my business, you know, I'm sitting at home in between stuff, I would have given my left arm to have 1 seat for 1 week, just to tell people I did it, or at least I accomplished something in life. Little did I know that the run would last this long and be this successful. And so it's very nice to be grounded and to have checkpoints. Sure, you can get swept up in it. And once you start making some good cash, you buy pinball machines and you have some fun. But that gets old after a while too. There's only so many dinners you can eat. And then you see these philanthropists that want to just dedicate their time or do charitable things. I'm very fortunate to have the sort of leverage with my infrastructure and my time and my mediums to do something constructive. And it's fun for me. And something that happened, which is very important, is I'm very loyal. And so when I graduated the proud Abington High School and I got college recommendation letters, which pretty much got me into college, I paid forward. So I have a second language scholarship that I do every year for a graduating senior. I'll pay for their freshman books. And why am I doing this? I have to, because if these individuals did not believe in me when I was immature 18 with bad grades, I've never gotten into Arizona. So I'm able now. And I see this younger generation and I want to make sure that I let them know that you can still follow certain things. And tougher said than done. But if these are the little things that you do that make you happy, then I think by all means, don't let anybody influence you on it. You donate your time and resources where you want to. And it doesn't matter where, you know, because you know perfectly well there's going to be that young Richard and Philip that's there that would love to have that. You know what it is, my man? It's like that guy that gave you the first job or the teacher that let you take the test a second time because you failed the first time. There's always that person that gives you that second chance to get it right, or at least believe in you to see what you can do. And that's the stage of life that I'm in right now.
That's a great stage to be in. It's you seem like a happy guy when you talk about your life and your business, and you know, living living in Costa Rica. I mean, it seems that you made a choice 25 years ago, and I guess it was the right choice because you seem to be happy with it.
Not an easy one. You don't know where you're going. It's a leap of faith. But I tell you, if you know a second language and you have friends somewhere, definitely makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. I know. My wife and I toyed with the idea of moving to Italy and just living there, but we're not there yet. But
Can you
soon.
try for just a month?
Oh yeah, we've done that. We love that. We've done that.
Yeah, so you're
I
ready
love
to
it.
go? Well,
Oh yeah, I love it there. I would. I'm working on getting my citizenship there. So, so that should be
that
fun.
sounds great.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna definitely come visit.
yeah, it'd be great. I think it's a great country. I don't know if I'd go there full time because there's some complications with being they're sort of a socialist government type,
I'll
so
be honest with you, you really shouldn't live anywhere full time,
yeah.
because it's when I go back to the States or when I travel, it's great to decompress. And then what the craziest thing is, if you've been away from work for so long and you like look at an email or you see something you've done online, you're like, is that me? What a different life. What a fast pace. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Wearing a suit on Phil's podcast? Come on now. Calm down. And so it's a great way to check yourself
Yeah.
from time to time.
We're actually on TV. We're not a podcast.
Oh, even better.
We're on TV on
What's up, everybody? I know my mom's watching.
OTT channels. So we're, right now you can stream it. You can watch it on Apple TV, Roku, Samsung TV, Fire TV, E360 TV. It's all OTT channels. So, and then after the show is over, then it becomes evergreen content, and then you can it stream. You can watch it anytime. I actually have somebody who wants to ask you a question. He said, as we know, AI is everywhere these days. Do you think AI will replace humans in call centers in the near future?
Absolutely. Not 100%. As I say, there's going to be some IT people watching the machines and the programs. But there will always be the concierge, the front row. Someone has to speak to somebody that's old school like me that wants to know someone before I give them $1,000 or commit my business. But yes, I see it change. It's great for gathering. It's really effective. But I tell you what, it lacks empathy. A computer can't tell you how sad they are that your puppy ran away or that you broke your arm. I mean, it just doesn't seem authentic. And so there'll still be something for this industry, but unfortunately, kind of like an automatic teller machine for the banks, yes, a good portion of us will be replaced.
We use a lot of AI products in what we do every day. And I think that there are some of the AI tools out there are great tools. Have they replaced people in my business? No. Are they going to? No. Are they going to make my people more efficient? Absolutely. The ability to pull data, the ability to analyze data, the ability to manage advertising, optimize advertising, all those things I think are great. Content, yes, we've been using it for years. I don't use images. We do a lot of video editing with it, but not creation of videos because I don't think it's there yet. I think that there's going to come a point where people are going to try and get to the point where it replaces people. But I think there's going to be they're going to realize it doesn't work. And I see it. And the reason I say that is because I see it every day. There are people out there that are building channels on YouTube or channels on Facebook where they're 100% AI driven, and it's creating images and creating videos. And I can see the rejection from people. I can see them saying, well, this is an AI generated product. There's no talent left in it. There's no creativity in it. It's just boring. So I'm going to discount it. And, so I think you're 100% right. In your business, there's got to be a human touch. In my opinion, and I don't know that much about your business, but I do know that you've got to collect data before you can start doing your job. And so you're still going to need those people to make those phone calls. Yeah. Can AI dial? Yeah. But I wouldn't want, if I get a phone call that says, hi, this is, and I've gotten them where it's, somebody calling up and saying, hi, and then you don't respond. And then all of a sudden they go into this diatribe. You could tell it's an AI generated thing. I just hang up on it because it's worthless. But the dialogue, huh?
Give it about 10 years. It's almost like watching those special effects from the 1950s. You could really tell. It's like a movie screen behind them and the guy driving with the car and stuff. Look at it today. And so, as I say, look at virtual reality compared to what it was. Give it time. They will be able to have 1,000 answers to 1,000 pauses, accents, genres, cursing, slang. They will sound like me. 100%. The only thing they won't know is the password that we spoke about when we were 10 years old.
Yeah.
That's when you'll know, but they will be. You know what it almost reminds me of? You remember that movie, I Am Legend? When Will Smith walks into the video store and there's all mannequins there like Fred and everybody.
Yeah.
It's like that. People are going to see 9 out of 10 mannequin plastic, and the one person stands out from the fresh food compared to the microwaved food, and they can tell. And I also believe in human nature. People can also tell too. There's that sort of sixth sense that we have in regards to things in nature that are human and that are not. And so don't know. And to be honest with you, don't really care. Why? Because I can't control it.
Yeah.
If it was me and I was making that decision of which button to press and I was a king of a country and I decided certain things, okay. But this is something where I'm not afraid of a buggy whip or a steam engine, right? I mean, these are the sort of things that people were arguing against to save their jobs because they didn't like change. And that's all right. I mean, people were afraid of TV back in the day.
Sure.
Fine. What do we do about it? I don't know. Maybe I'll just realize I'm a Generation Xer. I'll put my phone down and just have a nice conversation with you with AI all around me. I mean, what do you want me to do? I'll always be living in 1985, no matter what AI does to me.
Is that right? Yeah, I mean, look, you know better than me about your business. I just think that I think that AI is going to be good up to a point, and I think people are going to still need, like you said before, it's going to get me to the 20-yard line, but we still have to get it over the goal line. And it's the same way I think about it in business. AI, the tools that we use get us 60 to 70% there. And then the other 30%, we still need a human intervention. And whether it's content, whether it's, imagery, videos, whatever it is. So that's how I feel.
So I'm saying AI will never know that connection that unless they were there listening to the conversation, transcribing, which they're probably doing over the phone anyway. But if they weren't there during that private conversation that you and I had, when either you hit the home run or you struck out, and I was there, right? They're not going to match that. And I believe today, and as I say, I hate the texting. I know it's convenient sometimes, but when I walk downstairs, I'm going to say two things of what COVID did. Number one, it saved my industry, but then everyone went home. So I'm a virtual call center majority of it now, which took away my essence of seeing people playing the games with them and having that synergy. So I'm happy, but then again, it really and then when I go downstairs, or when I did, and I see a room of 50 people downstairs, 5 people at a table, they're all looking at their phones.
Yeah.
They're there, but their mind is elsewhere. And I tease them. I go, where's the conversations? Where's the joking? Where's the cool table in the lunchroom? And they just look up, they laugh for a second, ha ha, hefe, and then look back down again. And I can't change that.
No, you
That's the
can't.
generation. They want to do that. And so I just see it as a shame, because it's such an insult to be somewhere else when there is a person sitting right in front of you. If anything and nothing, just eat in comfortable silence next to them, to acknowledge presence, not that the cartoon that you're watching is more important than me. It's kind of weird. And yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. It is a little bit it's definitely a generational thing. But I think it has to do with, well, obviously technology plays that role, and kids are used to this generation is used to having their phone and texting and all that, but they don't get deep into conversations. Like I can remember when I was young in the 80s, and you'd go out with your friends, you'd be hanging out with whatever you did, and you'd be talking about stuff, and you got to know their everything about them. I knew everything about my friends, right? I knew,
That's
my
right.
kid, they'll say, oh, so and so. You go, oh, what do they, where do they live? I don't know. I'm like, you didn't ask them? No. That would be weird. And you go, why is that weird? What do their parents do? I don't know. What? Okay. They just think it's weird, but they'll sit there and text with them all day long about, superficial work, superficial ideas.
They'll never know what it's like to make that phone call and ask someone's mother or father to speak to someone,
I know.
especially that girl you liked in 5th grade.
Right.
Oh my God, if you can make that phone call, I'm going to hire you. That's a telemarketer.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yes, Mr. Smith. Becky home? Come
Yeah,
on.
right.
And then your mom picks up and starts dialing or
That's
no,
right.
it's
That's right.
crazy.
Mom, I'm on the
Woo!
phone. I'm on the phone.
Your heart drops 10 times, but you hang in there. Woo!
Yeah, I
That's
remember
the
that.
real coming of age.
I do. I remember that. So I would imagine that there's challenges, right? There's challenges in every business. What
Sure.
are some of the bigger challenges you're facing?
Number one is attrition rate. It's
Oh, is it
300%
right?
in my industry. People just leave. They'll peace out. There's no 2 weeks notice. So yeah. Hey, Phil. Yeah. What's up, Richie? Billy just quit.
Oh,
Got
geez.
a job at Amazon. His girlfriend just worked there, but it happens. I think I said earlier, I'll never give them the walk of shame. I'll lose them on natural attrition. That's just a crazy thing in my industry because of the ramp up in investment in the people. But you always have reserves, and you can kind of tell who may be a jumper or a mercenary or a cancer. I'd rather have, check this out. I would rather have an 18-year-old kid with really good English, private school English, right? But no work experience. He's a squire to a knight. I can teach him a headset and how to use a CPU, but they're raw and I can mold them and they have no bad habits. And these are some of the best people that I have. And a second thing I don't do is I don't promote from outside. I'll bring in specialists for IT and for my human resources and other departments. But there's absolutely no way I'm going to bring in a supervisor for a campaign. They will not earn the respect of their people. They haven't earned their stripes. Plus, they'll come in with an attitude. And I don't like things like that. I like nurture. I like where it's organic. Listen, man, if you can't play pinball with Phil and myself, you shouldn't be working here. That's the sort of thing that I think about. But what are also challenges? The burnout, because yeah, you do get the FUs on the phone. And what I try to do is I have preventative measures, and I hate the Jerry Maguire spin out of control, because I have seen people that have been with me with perfect records have the worst day of their life, cursing on the floor, cursing at everyone, screaming and yelling, and have lost so much face they can't come back anymore, as much as I'd give them a second chance. And so you pull them off the phone, you give them some coffee, you get them to calm down for a minute, and then all of a sudden they start crying because they're taking care of their parents or they can't afford a bill. And that hits, because you and I are in this beautiful, comfortable bubble of a roof over our head, a hot meal, warm bed, people that love you and support you. I don't know people's lives.
Mhm.
but sometimes they will share their things with me. They'll disclose certain things I didn't know or sometimes didn't want to know.
Right.
But if they're willing to be vulnerable and put themselves out there, you need to take it. Don't absorb it, but find a way to work with it. And so some of my challenges is carrying weight for people and trying to be an energy giver and trying to make the best of something. I mean, I'm trying to be relentlessly positive. You want to see really what's in the kitchen? No, seriously. You want to see what's under the hood? You really want it? You really want to go there? Or do you want to see when I have everything calm and cool, the good times? Because if you want to see the kitchen, you really want to see me doing the books, making the phone calls, the contracts, writing the script, balancing everything, come on in. Yeah, come on in good and spend some time. And then you'll really see what it takes. But do we make it look easy? We're just used to it.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the less pressure that I can give to them or panicking or the fact that I'm not paying my lights because I'm not responsible with my money, that's a problem.
Right.
But if you are calm and cool in front of your people, when there is chaos all around you, you are the one individual that can land that plane so that hard. And that is how people will come back. That is how I am able to reduce that natural attrition. And then also rates, because I can't compete offshore with India and the Philippines. They're half my rate. So this is my argument. Listen to me now. If it's inbound customer support with a set talk time and just going through the motions, I can't double the work. It's impossible for me to do twice the amount of calls. But if it's outbound prospecting for Phil and my soft skills, my environment, and what these agents are able to do will offset that couple dollars an hour because of merit, I can earn your business. We can do these sort of things. And so the responsible thing to do is to reject more business than you accept. Because I have to be realistic with people. I'm not going to overpromise and then make excuses. That's not cool. That's stealing money. But then I'll also let them know the long shot. If it's a pilot campaign, the list is old. You've never tested it before. These are brand new agents. It's a ramp up time. So, I got to let them know the other things that are involved in it. But if we're crystal clear in the beginning and everyone has something skin in the game, it works.
Yeah.
And I guess the last thing is the proxemics, because we're not close. I'm not there, in Chicago or in New York or something. I'm in Central America. And so I probably meet about 20% of my clients personally. Most of the deals I close over the phone like yourself. But they would love to be here. And I know that if they spent time with the agents and had that relationship, of course that would increase the loyalty and the performance. There's only so much you can do virtually. And so these are some of the challenges that I have. But I tell you what, if these are the worst case scenarios and tough challenges, this is easy stuff. It's like wiffle ball. Come on, give me something challenging.
Yeah, I hear you. Hamza, how do you compare marketing today with marketing 10 years ago? What's changed and what has not? That's a big question, man. And we've only got about 4 more minutes. So I don't know. You want to field that or you want me to field it?
All I know is that it's more texting now. And when we were prospecting, calls go directly into voicemail, or people are asking for emails. So our personal contact ratios have reduced. That's why we need to be a little bit more clever in regards to the email templates and the voicemail templates, or possibly that positive escalation of those that assisted you to possibly move you close from half court to 3-point advantages when you're at least getting their attention to buy 30 seconds to a minute for them to review your information. So all you're doing is just increasing odds. That's all.
Right. Yeah. It's I tell you, man, you're a good speaker. I really enjoy your abilities. It's much different than most people that I speak to. It's much more animated, much more thought behind it. So I appreciate that.
I watched too many Basil Rathbone movies in the 1930s. Come on, I'm giving you great speakers. Fun homework to do, so at least you get to learn some good rhetoric.
Yeah, you sound like you're having a good time down there. I'm happy for you.
I'm living good life, my friend. I finally found it. And Phil, I can't thank you enough. You're a great guy. I do apologize for my technical difficulties in the beginning, but look how I handled it. My boy solved the problem. I can't believe you covered it. You covered my app for like 4 minutes before I jumped on. I was like, how much more can this guy keep talking? And you were talking real slow just to make sure you bought that time. My guy's typing away, fixing the camera. I'm trying not to sweat. And here we go. But
That's
great
nothing.
time today, Phil. You're the man.
That's nothing, man. That's nothing. I talk slow sometimes because I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say, because sometimes I have to have that filter between what I think and what I'm saying. So even if it's benign. So I really
You did
enjoyed
it
it.
perfectly, my man.
I appreciate
You
it.
really did. You covered for me.
I,
I didn't get in trouble. That's the most important thing.
things happen, man. Things happen when you do it. You know, we do it live, and so things happen. I mean, you'd be amazed. You know, people, all kinds of stuff has happened, but I don't really care. It's like you. I don't sweat the small stuff. I'm not gonna. Things like that happen. I can't control it. It is what it is. But I can get by. I can get around it. So I have sort of the same philosophy as you. I've definitely found a place of happiness in my life. I love my family. I love where I live. I love what I do. I've been doing it for, years. I learn something every single day. I learn something new. I enjoy that because, most people, I think, get set in their ways and they think about what they did 10 years ago, Hamza, but I don't. I think about what's new and I try new things. So, I like it. I like doing this show because I like talking to people like you, and I like bringing that those your tidbits of wisdom to people and potential entrepreneurs. And I think you have a lot of it. And I think one thing that I got out of this is you weren't afraid. I mean, think about the ability to uproot your life from comfortable Northeast Pennsylvania to going to Costa Rica and then make a life there. You'll be there for 25 years. It's that would scare a lot of people, I think. And, it's really, to you, it's not that big of a deal. You built a business, you got a
Just
family.
don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And just life is about skipping. Enjoy it. What's wrong with you? As I was saying, go for it. I was young. I had hair. I was bold and brave. What's the worst thing that could happen to me? I'm living in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
It's great.
Happened to
And
you?
now, Phil, you're right. And as I say, if anything and nothing with your audience, at least dip a toe in the water. Don't jump into it. 40 hours is part-time, 80 hours is full-time. You can almost get a second, not full-time job, but start your business. Evenings, weekends, and in-betweens, and see where it goes. But if there's anything I can do for you and your amazing audience, if you guys want to give me a call, go over a script, an email, just say it's from Phil. No charge. I'm definitely going to help out your crew. And so we'll see what we can do to increase their sales.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And just so everybody knows, all the information will be in the show description. It'll be on all the channels I mentioned before. It'll be on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, E360 TV. It'll be on my YouTube channel. It'll be on my website. It'll be in a whole bunch of different places. But so all of Richard's information, his bio, his website, contact information, all that type of stuff is will be in the description. So if you want to get in touch with him, certainly hit him up. You can hit him up on LinkedIn, I believe, as well. And yeah, I appreciate you coming on. And we've got about 15 seconds before we're off the air. So again, I appreciate it. Good luck down there, and I hope we stay in touch.
I'm going to say pura vida, Felipe. Thank you, my man. We're definitely going to keep in touch, and I'm coming to visit you in Italy.
All right, man.
That's my goal.
I appreciate it.